group Aiden Cuomo, Dylan Dedman, and Nolan Cook did our project on earthquake in San Francisco 1906. Some questions that were raised when we were learning about this disaster were what caused this disaster? What were some of the impacts on people, environment, and the future? The image on the left talks about a news article that came out the following day, just talking about how disastrous this natural cause happened. On the photo on the top, it just kind of shows how catastrophic the event was. When and where. The earthquake struck on April 18th, 1906 in San Francisco, California. It occurred because the Pacific Plate was slowly moving northwest and subducting beneath the North American Plate. This movement happens along the San Andreas Fault, a transformed boundary where the plates slide past each other. At the time, people didn't fully understand what caused earthquakes, but Professor H.F. Reed studied the ground displacement from this earthquake and developed the elastic rebound theory, which explains how stress builds up along the faults and suddenly releases during an earthquake. The image on the left shows what the elastic rebound theory was. Professor H.F. Reed from Johns Hopkins University was the first to develop this idea. In some places, the ground moved as much as 20 feet due to the release of buildup stress along the San Andreas Fault. The human impact of this disaster, there was about 700 lives lost that day. This number is a rough estimate. It could be off a little bit, but most deaths occurred in San Francisco, where 189 were reported elsewhere. The shaking itself caused significant damage, but the fires that followed were even more destructive. Ruptured gas lines caused fires to start that burned for days, destroying much of the city. Over 200,000 people were left homeless, and the city faced a long and difficult recovery. Environmental impact. The earthquake caused massive changes to the landscape. The ground along the San Andreas Fault shifted up 20 feet in some areas, and the landslides that were triggered in surrounding regions. The fires caused by the earthquake led to local air pollution. While it had no long-term climate effects, it had short-term effects 5 to 10 years afterwards. Wildlife was also severely impacted, with animals displaced or killed due to fires and changes in the landscape. The lithosphere was directly affected by tectonic movement, and the atmosphere suffered from smoke and ash produced by the fires. Some of the fun facts and lessons learned from the disaster were some cities and roads are still built directly on the San Andreas Fault today. The earthquake led to major advancements in building codes and engineering. Today, we reinforce roads and bridges to withstand earthquakes, and we design buildings to absorb shocks, making them safer for everyone. This event also changed public attitude towards natural hazards, emphasizing the importance of just being prepared for any given natural disaster. This is the end of the presentation. In conclusion, the 1906 San Francisco earthquake was catastrophic and definitely changed a lot of people's lives in the landscape and surrounding areas. It has also taught us an important lesson about just being prepared for any natural disaster to occur. This is the end of the presentation.